Alright, Bloodborne only using hunter tools. How do we do it? Well, first off, we're going to have to kill at least 3 bosses just to get the first tool that'll actually do some damage, but we're going to go back and kill those bosses in a New Game Plus after we beat the game, so don't worry. But you have 2 options on which tool you want to get first, depending on which bosses you want to kill. You're always going to have to kill Father Gascoigne and the Cleric Beast no matter what in order to get to Amelia or the Witches of Hemwick. If you want to get the Executioner gloves first, you're going to have to kill the witches and then go to Cainhurst and haul ass through there and grab the gloves and dip. But if you want to do that one first, you're going to have to do a glitch at the beginning of the game where you get the werewolf to push you through the door so you can grab the Cainhurst summons and actually get there. But I just decided to go the other route and kill Amelia first so you can get to the lecture building and get the tentacle move, which I'm just going to call it the tentacle move throughout this video because I don't want to try to pronounce this. But in hindsight, that was probably a pretty bad idea because the Executioner gloves are actually way better for most bosses because you can use it at a distance. But anyway, I still just head straight for the Bloodstarved Beast. I could have just went for the witches first because they're the easier boss and I could have got the Executioner gloves like that, but I'm a stupid idiot and I like to make things harder for myself, so we just went for the Bloodstarved Beast. And as you can see, the tentacle attack is actually really good against the Bloodstarved Beast because it just keeps knocking him down over and over again, at least at first until he gets more aggressive and starts leaking poison everywhere, and I basically get poisoned every single time I try to attack him because you have to get really close with this move. That's why the gloves would have made this fight a lot easier because like I said, you can use them at a distance. But after a lot of trial and error, I was finally able to kill the Bloodstarved Beast. And this is what made me realize the hardest part of this challenge is just going to be managing all my bullets so I can actually have enough to get to the end of the boss fight. So you're going to see me trading my blood vials for a lot of bullets a lot through this run. After that, we head straight to the witches, and it's no surprise to anyone that they're really easy, but I actually did die once, so please don't tell the other gamers. But the tentacle attack does a really good chunk of damage to them, but the problem is that you can't roll out of it and you're locked in place, so once you start the attack, you better make sure there's no other enemies around. The tentacles also make the hunter fights pretty easy because it just knocks them down, and you can just keep knocking them down over and over again every time they get up if you time it right. And for the bitch ass minigun guy, it just eats him right off the roof, so that was really nice. But now that we beat the witches, we can go to Cainhurst now and get the Executioner gloves. And I was actually really disappointed in the gloves at first because they didn't seem to do a whole lot of damage, and the cost of bullets compared to the tentacles just didn't seem worth it. But once I got the hang of it, they quickly became one of my favorite tools. But now that we have the gloves, we can head straight for the Shadows of Yarman. And I'm not gonna lie, I was dreading this fight pretty bad because there's 3 enemies attacking you all at once, and I didn't know how I was gonna be able to get an attack off without taking damage from one of them. But once I tried the fight a few times, I got the hang of luring one of them away so I can get an attack off really quick and just run away before one of the other ones could hit me. And this is actually one of the more fun and difficult fights in this run because I had to make use of both my tools instead of just one, so you didn't run out of bullets by the end of it. And you really need to try to get all 3 of their health down equally so you don't have to stay in the later stages of the fight for too long because it gets a lot more difficult. If I had infinite bullets, I could have easily just spammed the gloves the entire time, but since you don't, you really need to watch your bullet usage and try to use the tentacles as much as possible to save the gloves for the later stages of the fight so you can just attack them from a distance. Now that we finished him, we can head for Rom, but first we have to reenact that one Teen Titans video that we don't speak about on this lady, then we can start the real boss fight. And wow, you just completely stomp him with the hunter tools. He didn't stand a chance. Even though I died at the very end, I still got the dub on the first try, so it doesn't matter. After Rom, I wanted to get the Whistle Hunter tool that summons this giant snake, but you need to get 5 vermin for this side quest, and the only way to do that is to kill some bosses online with some people, and it was really fun seeing people's reaction when I just destroyed the bosses in front of them in like 5 seconds. And I actually got a few messages from people asking me how I killed the boss so fast, so that was pretty funny. Until I realized this is the only tool that scales with Blood Tinge rather than Arcane, and I literally have not leveled up my Blood Tinge a single time, so that was a big ol' waste of time. I decided to go take my anger out on the Dark Beast Parl, and that was a great idea because he just got obliterated. And my level isn't even that high. I think I was level 45 or 46 for this boss fight, which I think is around the standard, but apparently Arcane is just that good. That is until we get to the one Reborn, and he's one of the hardest fights in this entire run because he has a ton of health, and it's really hard to conserve your bullets and use the tentacle attack because I almost always got hit whenever I got close. And it also doesn't help that on the run up to this boss, you have all these enemies shooting hepatitis A through Z at you, and I almost got hit every single time. I tried to just use the gloves at first, but you will not have enough bullets if you just do this the whole time. You need to use the tentacles to take as much damage as you can, and I was pretty much forced to hide in this building and wait for him to do his AoE attack, and then quickly get in a hit or two on his weak spot and possibly stagger him. And this method takes a long ass time, but it was the only way I could get through this fight. Now we finally get to the Micolash fight, and I say finally because I've been looking forward to this one because it's going to be some tentacle on tentacle crime. There's just something so poetic about killing this annoying boss with his own weapon, and it was super easy because like most other human-sized enemies, you can just keep knocking him down over and over, but he killed me enough times in regular playthroughs with those stupid tentacles that he deserves to be embarrassed like this. This one goes out to all my fellow hunters that have fallen prey to this man's tentacles. Alright, now we can get our third hunter tool, a Call Beyond, which is one of the most powerful tools in the game, but it uses 7 bullets, which is more than twice what the gloves cost, so we have to use it pretty sparingly. But first we have to kill the Celestial Emissary, which is another pretty easy boss, so we beat on our first try. Then we quickly make our way over to the Amygdala, which is definitely a contender for the fastest kill in this run, only rivaled by the Dark Beast Paro so far. I killed him so fast that I decided I wanted to help some people online just for fun, and this guy stared at me in disbelief when I killed him in like 15 seconds, and then he sent me a friend request. I also decided I wanted to invade some people online to see how the hunter tools did in PvP, and you can see for yourself how well this worked out. Yeah, so it's safe to say the hunter tools can be pretty good for PvP. I just don't think most people expect this Shrek looking man to whip out some tentacles on them, so that probably helped in my favor. Also, this guy that's cosplaying as me really wanted to beast roar me off this cliff, but I knew what he was trying to do, so I stayed away from that. After being a jerk to people online, I decided to head over to the other alien boss with the name I don't want to try to pronounce, and it was another pretty easy boss. Definitely not the easiest, but it was still pretty easy that I beat her on my second try. But after that, we head over to one of the hardest bosses in the entire run, Logarius, and he's really hard because he has the same magic that your executioner gloves have, so it doesn't really affect him that much. So for the first time, we really had to rely on the Call from Beyond tool because that was the only tool that does like a lot of damage to him. But even then, you need to be at a certain distance to make sure most of the projectiles will hit him, and a lot of the times it'll still even hit the structures around him, which would just be a big waste. And in the second phase, it's even harder because the boss likes to get up really close to you, and that makes it almost useless because they need to be kind of far away. An interesting thing I learned about this boss that is, if you let him buff in the second phase, you probably already know that he can deflect your bullets, but he can also deflect the lightning from your hunter tool. I thought I was being trolled or something, or my game was messing up, because I have never seen the lightning not going in a perfect straight line, and it was just going around him throwing up big middle fingers 50% of the time. So that was another one of my tools that I really couldn't use during the second phase, so I really had to rely more on the tentacles, which is really hard to do without taking damage because you have to get really close to him. Also, the footage I'm showing you right now is actually a time I died because he had one little itty bitty bit of HP left, and that's because the time I actually did kill him, I didn't realize that the game glitched or something, because whenever he would do his move that would make the sword start shooting at you, they just didn't work. And this was like my 100th attempt, so I just didn't realize it because I just wanted to get through it already. So I didn't even notice until I was watching the footage back. But I got him down to one hit left before, so I felt satisfied enough, and I wasn't about to go through the entire game again just for one boss. After one of the harder bosses, we go back to another pretty easy one, being the Wet Nurse, and I was able to just use the Call from Beyond a few times on her, and I beat her in 2 tries. But then we finally get to Garamond, and I eat all my placentas like a good boy and prepare for a super intense fight. Just kidding, he was really easy. I don't even think he hit me one time, and he was really passive for whatever reason. Like, he wouldn't even try to attack me. But now we prepare for an excruciating battle with the Moon Presence. Just kidding again. She was pretty easy, a lot harder than Garamond, but the move where she stops you from healing is pretty annoying because I can't give myself any more bullets either, so you do have to be mindful of how many shots you have left before she does that move. But if you still have a bunch, you can just use the rest of it on your Executioner gloves and you can finish the fight pretty quickly. And yeah, we beat Bloodborne only using Hunter tools, but it's not over yet. We still have to go into New Game Plus and beat the 3 bosses we had to skip, and I'm only like level 70 or something, so it might be a lot more difficult than I think. First up is the Cleric Beast, and yeah, I can definitely tell their health pools have increased, but it's definitely still manageable as long as you watch how many bullets you're using. Also, if you can manage to hit him in the head, it makes it a lot easier because that helps stagger him a lot. After that, we head up to Father Gascoigne, and at first he was kind of difficult until I just started using the gloves on him while he was running up the stairs, and that just turned him into a joke, honestly. But fortunately, Amelia is no pushover. This was the first boss that I actually had to grind to level up more because she was one-shotting me a lot and I wasn't really doing enough damage to get past her healing phase. But I was kind of glad she was difficult because it was a really fun and challenging last boss to end the run on, and I really had to time a lot of my attacks to hit her in the head to stagger her and do more damage. And although the healing was pretty annoying at first, it took me like 15 tries before I remembered that you're supposed to use the numbing mist to stop her from healing, and that made the fight actually doable at my current level. But yeah, we beat all the bosses only using Hunter tools. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know if you have any other ideas for challenges in Bloodborne that you want to see me do or any other game. And maybe you can give this video a like if you think I deserve it. Have a good day, guys.